Since travel restrictions have opened up, I know we have all started packing our suitcases, grabbing our boarding passes, and it's safe to say that we are ready to explore the world. We'll be unpacking different perspectives on the travelling experience. We will also provide tips and tricks for when travelling in the air and share your embarrassing stories today as well. I'm your host, Claire Sude, and this is Ready for Takeoff. Travelled solo, which means I have always travelled with an airport dad who insists on holding all suitcases, starts walking 4 times faster as soon as we arrive to the airport. And even though we have arrived 5 hours early, we'll be standing on the gate and he will point out every plane because, oh, I think that one's ours, even if it's not the airline we're travelling with. So it's safe to say that we need some expert advice. Please join me in welcoming our pilot Oliver and our traveller Taylor. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
So we'll start off by both of you telling our audience a bit about yourselves. Ollie, let's start off with you, and then Taylor, you can take over.
So obviously my name's Oliver, I'm from Melbourne, and ever since 14 my dream has been being a pilot. So I started off with getting my recreational pilot's license and then moved on to my private, and now I am a cadet for Qantas, so I'm working on the airlines.
Solid. I'm Taylor, I'm 18, I'm from Melbourne, and I am quite a frequent traveller, but I'm actually a communications student and I'm just a fan, not apparently in the industry.
I love that. I love that travelling is such a big part of both of your lives. So with that being said, what is something you always bring with you as part of your carry-on luggage?
Me personally, I think it's got to be my laptop. I know a lot of people nowadays, they have separation anxiety with their phone. I think for myself personally, however, it's the laptop. Like once I know it's in my bag, I'm like, oh, I'm secure, I'm safe. I don't know, there's a lot of precious memories on there. And I mean, when you get bored as well, especially on these long hour flights, we do live in Australia after all, there's always something to do on the laptop. Definitely.
What about you, Ollie?
So for me, being a pilot, there's a lot of important gear that I need to keep. So I need to take my headset, my sunnies to look like Tom Cruise, my pilot bag and my iPad, as well as charts to make sure I don't get lost. That's the most important things.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's good to remember sunnies especially, and a laptop as well. So during your travelling experiences, what is a key thing that you guys have learnt that you'd like to share with the audience?
Oh, you know, I was thinking about your intro and I definitely related to everything you said there. I think I've always had parents that are all about, you know, getting to the airport as early as possible.
100%.
You know, just getting everything, the itinerary in hand, properly printed out. And I'm not going to lie, you know, I think while it can be excessive at times, there is a reason for it. I think it's actually really important to be as prepared as you can, especially with something like the airport. Things take a long time. You know, it can get really chaotic and messy and no one knows what's going on. So definitely having your itinerary in hand and just being there early. You know, after all, we do it for a reason.
For sure. Better prepared than, you know, underprepared. I 100% agree. What about you, Ollie?
So obviously the most important thing that I've learned as a traveller, as a pilot, is that before I used to fly, I used to be so scared of flying, scared of all the turbulence and all of that. But as I'm a pilot, I've begun to realise that we do this hundreds of times. We do landings hundreds of times. We deal with turbulence hundreds of times. We know how to deal with pretty much every situation since we've gone through so much training. So they do say it's safer than driving a car, and I seriously believe that because there's less stuff to crash into. But really, it's a really safe experience and your pilots are well prepared and professional.
Oh yeah, that's really interesting to know. And with you guys travelling a lot, is there any ritual or a routine that you have before you start travelling?
Yeah, for me, definitely. Since I was a kid, one I've always done, the first time I catch the plane when I was like 7, 6, I think I was actually 6 years old, was always to chew bubble gum when the plane takes off, because your ears get blocked when you go up that high. Chewing bubble gum, it always helps.
That's a good trick, 100%. What about you, Ollie?
So I like to not focus on anything else other than my checklists and all the stuff needed to get the plane in the air to make sure that all the passengers are as safe as possible. Because if I distract myself with other rituals and stuff like that, I feel like I could be skipping over items which are important to people's safety. So obviously that's my pre-flight ritual, is always doing the same steps every time and keeping it consistent.
Definitely. So bubble gum and checklists. I've got it. Thank you both so much for joining us. It was great to receive your perspectives on the travelling experience and receive tips and tricks on how to better our experience. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I hear an embarrassing story from someone else, it definitely makes me feel a little bit better about myself. So it's time for, you guessed it, embarrassing stories.
Today, we will be reading random people's most embarrassing airport stories. Let's go.
When I was flying international, the airport only had squat toilets. When I went to wash myself off with the hose, I lost control and sprayed it up the walls of the cubicle, hitting people on the other side.
I was wearing baggy jeans that were way too big for me, and when the x-ray person made me take off my belt, my pants fell off.
This one time on a flight back home to Melbourne, I got seated next to this really nice man. Conversation was great until he started giving a hate speech about Dan Andrews and didn't stop for a good hour in. Cute.
Arrived at the airport 5 hours early, fell asleep and missed my flight.
Damn.
Well, there you go. Embarrassing stories we laugh about but hope won't happen to us. Thank you to our incredible crew for helping us today run this episode with no turbulence, and after travelling through different airport experiences, it's safe to say that we are ready for takeoff. Yay!
I'm your host, Sammy Smith, not to be confused with Sam Smith, famously not a busker. If you've heard of Bourke Street, you're likely familiar with the talented buskers who perform there every day. For our show today, we have with us a veteran of the Melbourne street music scene, Justin Bailey, and avid music enthusiast, Matt Robertson, to tell us what it's really like to perform on and enjoy such a unique stage of music. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah.
Before we get to you guys though, we went out onto Bourke Street to see what we could find. Well, there's a little taste of the busking scene of Bourke Street. Now, Justin and Matt, welcome to both of you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, happy to be here.
Thanks for having me on.
Fantastic. Yeah, we'll start at the start. Justin, what got you into busking?
So I've tried busking because I'm a violinist, and I've tried busking ever since I was a wee little lad growing up in Canberra. And people are very generous to you at that age. But as I got into uni, I was working in a restaurant as a waiter, and I went out one day and I busked in Oakley. I went to Monash Uni, and I realised that I was making more money busking than I was in my day job. So it sort of turned into a thing that I did to support myself when I was going through uni.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Love that.
And do you still find, even though you've lost that kiddie charm, do you still get the support that you got back then?
Yeah, you have to work harder for it, for sure. But yeah, no, it's still good, man.
Yeah, you've got a very friendly face, Justin.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank
That's
you.
for sure. Yes, I get that. Yeah. Like,
you too.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
That's really nice. Yeah, look at this. Hitting it off already. Look at this.
Now, Matt, I know one of your favourite things to do is to sit down with a fresh cup of coffee and a Danish pastry and enjoy some street music.
Yeah, for sure.
But what is it that makes street music so special?
Well, I feel like it, obviously the main thing is that it comes from the heart, right? These people are, most of the time, they're voluntarily coming out of the ether with stuff that they've laboured on and spent hours preparing, and they've been honing their craft. And I feel like that's really gratifying to see, especially if you're like there's so many, especially in the CBD area. And so yeah, I feel like it's a great vibe all around, and obviously very talented like yours truly here. Yeah. So,
and from the artist's perspective, what is it special to you? Do you find connections with your audience members?
Busking has been probably the best practice stage that I could ever ask for. And learning how to interact organically with an audience which frankly didn't expect you to be there, and sometimes might not even particularly want it, but still being able to engage them in something and being able to keep them around is a really special experience, and it's something that I'm going to have with me for the rest of my life, for sure.
That's fantastic. There's a lot of beautiful moments.
That's it, yeah.
But it's also a very unpredictable stage, right?
Yeah.
What's the funniest or craziest thing that's happened to you while you've been busking? So many
He's got
stories,
a list.
man.
Yeah.
Everything's happened. I've been punched by homeless people before. I've been robbed. I've been surrounded by large groups of dancers and had like a full-on rave party
That's
before.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's kind of crazy.
You just end up with
the violin
the
pops
craziest.
off. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I'm doing live looping with beats. So it
Yeah.
gives a bit more of a
Yeah, for sure.
you know.
Pumps up
Yeah.
vibes. Yeah.
Pumps it up.
Yeah, it pumps it up.
Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah.
You still love it.
That's it, yeah, and it's different wherever I've done it. So I've not only busked in Melbourne, but internationally, in the UK, in France, and in Switzerland. Amazing. So yeah, it's a pretty awesome thing to do.
Sounds
honestly.
like it. Yeah. And where can people at home find you if they want to listen to your stuff?
If they'd like, they can go to my Instagram at Justin Bailey Music.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And what about you, Matt?
Well, look, I mean, I don't really, you can follow my personal Instagram where I post literally nothing. But, I've always wanted to sort of, record some music and put it up on social media, so I suppose it's very inspiring to hear your story, and even just like, get the confidence to do that,
Yeah, thanks.
It's a beautiful art for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much, Matt and Justin, for joining me.
No worries.
Be like Matt and head down to Bourke Street to see Justin and other legends play.
Be like me. Yes.
Bring some coins with you as well.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. This has been Bourke Street Sounds. Stay musical, my friends.
Hello and welcome to the Media Mix, where we discuss the latest social media trends, memes and corporate monsters. I'm your host, Chris Kardashian, and I substitute having a friendly thing from taking the algorithm and something boring. So we have some great guests on the panel today. We have TikTok star Oliver Duncan, who makes useless music edits for a living, and Kim Webberley, a local artist who is here to plug her music. So lads, welcome to the show.
What's up?
Thank you.
All right, so the first question goes to Kimberly. So with your music, do you actually get paid in likes or do you have a real job?
I have a real, I have a real job, but you can also get paid in likes as well, which is also, it can also be a real job.
Right, so
Can be a real job. So
I'll take that
Can
as
you?
yes, you have a real job.
Oh.
You're thriving to be a musician, but all right, next one. So I've seen your videos.
Oh no.
On your TikTok. So my first question to you is, what's wrong with you?
A few things, you know. A lot of free time, I think, is the biggest problem with me. Yeah.
Lego Star Wars and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, well, you know, you don't have to go there, but yeah. I enjoy it, so you know, it's more about me, more than you. But you know, that's the thing.
Yeah, but this show is about me, and I say it's not very good.
Okay, thank you. Well.
Okay, serious. So this goes to both of you. So some people on the internet, or just people in general, would say that music and TikTok is mindless entertainment. So what would you say to those people?
Well, I would agree. I think music is. I'm not a music guy. I'm more of an editing guy. So, yeah.
likewise, Oliver, I would say the same for you too.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, I appreciate that, Kimberly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate it too.
Oh, thanks.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're wrong, is what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Ask the people. What do the people think?
I should ask them. What do you think? Leave a comment below. So, again, for both of you, so what is the most successful TikTok/music trend you've participated in so far?
Well, I edited a video of a dancing robot to a song by Lizzo. I can't remember what it's called, and that.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Well, that seemed to do really successfully. I'm not sure why, but I seemed to hit the right market at the right time, so it worked pretty well, I'd say. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Thank you.
I'd say actually like capitalizing off other people's fame. No, but yeah, like your association with others. So like I did some work with Samantha Jade and Jessica Malboy and yeah, well, there you go. That's speaking to my demographic of people, It's fine.
Because like on this popular trend, I actually did a TikTok try not to laugh trend, but the twist on that was it was actually at an emergency ward. So they didn't enjoy it. I got cancelled for 2 weeks. And I got uncancelled through this show. But
attention though, you got attention.
Yeah, I did get attention.
There you go.
So now it's time to get into our weekly segment, Real Review, where we discuss, where we see our guests use the social media knowledge to critique some of the hottest memes of the presses. Now I will try to be impartial as I can, and let you guys do the critiquing. So let's start off with this zinger there. So, do you know why you shouldn't buy in an Apple store? Why? Because they don't have Windows. So what are your thoughts on that?
That's very good. I think that's a very good meme.
It's sound advice.
Yeah.
Just in general.
That was crap. I didn't like
Oh,
it.
okay.
Right,
Well.
next one. I'm an Apple person and Windows. So, y'all argue with people who eat steaks like this. Can't they still chewing?
Can't.
So,
The grammar there needs a bit of work. The three dots. I'm a little confused by that one.
no, I love steak though.
That's
so
probably a 3 out of 10.
That gets a pass on me.
I
Okay.
eat a steak like that. That's me.
Alright, so that's actually a good segue into our Taiwan segment, Memes on the Street, where we ask everyday social media slaves where their current favourite online trends are. So let's take a look at that. Thanks, mate. Today we are on Bourke Street now to interview people about their favourite memes. Let's go. Yeah, so what's a meme that stuck out to you recently?
The name's Bond's the James name one.
The Bond's name, James name.
Bruh. I've never heard of that. Sounds crap. Next one.
I like the Barbie movie poster memes.
Matthew, how's
How's it going, mate? Long time no see.
Okay.
Do you reckon I could ask you a question?
I told you not to speak with me outside of class, bro. Seriously.
Wait, what's the beef?
It's getting insane, okay?
Mate,
you came to my house, I'm trying to go.
Mate, wait, we're best friends, are we not?
Just get on.
Well, there you have it, folks. Seems like no one likes me. Back to the studio.
The people have spoken. So, what are your thoughts on those memes?
What are your thoughts, Kimberly?
What are your thoughts?
What are your thoughts?
That's what we think about it.
Yeah, we agree with the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a people.
Not a fan of James Bond, Barbie, or any of the memes. And
I love the Barbie meme. I think it's great. Yeah.
I did a Barbie meme.
Oh, you did? Of what?
That's me. It was just me. No.
Oh, of you.
I've seen it around.
Oh, okay.
It should be better than Oppenheimer, which comes out, soonish, I believe.
Yeah.
Atomic bombs going off.
Yeah, time bombs everywhere. Chris Nolan, everything.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all love a good
I'm talking about Barbie, sorry, not Oppenheimer. Atomic bombs. Sorry, keep going.
Wrap it up. All right, so on that note, I think that's all the time we have. Thanks on this episode of Media Mix. Once again, thank you so for Oliver and Kimberly for coming on the show today. So you can check them out on Peanut Plab on TikTok for Oliver and Kimberly heavily on Spotify. God knows they need the money. And as always, I'm your host, Tom Cruise, and no, I am not a Scientologist. Don't crash your Teslas, and good night. I'm going to watch Barbie now.
Hello, wonderful audience, and welcome to the Creators Corner, where we talk everything creation, performance, and art. Today is all about our young and student creators and the journey of being part of a professional industry, working and branding yourself as a professional artist while still studying or living at home. Shortly, I will have the privilege of chatting with some wonderful people doing just that. But first, let's take a quick look at them in action. Please tell us a little bit about yourselves.
So I'm Ethan Gallagher. I just turned 19 and I'm a stand-up comic. So I've been doing that since I was about, I think 14 years old, so for a good couple of years now, and I'm having a good time.
Awesome. Ben?
Well, I'm Ben. I'm a musician, or like a guitarist and kind of singer. And I've been playing guitar since about age 12. And yeah, just turned 19 as well, so that's about 7 years.
Awesome. Do you play with a band or do you play solo?
I play with a band, yeah, just around like local areas and stuff.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Awesome. Tell us a little bit about your band.
Yeah, we're called Peach Fuzz, and yeah, essentially we go just, yeah, exactly, it's a silly name. And we started playing around maybe like last year, and yeah, just like slowly, like gradually getting into like bigger venues and stuff, and just like getting to know all the bands around Melbourne. It's pretty cool, because they're all quite nice.
Awesome. Yeah. And Ethan, what's it like actually trying to book gigs in the Melbourne Comedy Festival?
In the comedy festival or the comedy scene?
Comedy scene, comedy festival, since that's what you've
well, the festival is a lot of fun because, well, the planning of it is really, really not that fun. But actually being a part of the festival is really amazing and fun. But booking gigs in like the comedy scene it's just a Facebook group, really. There's one Facebook group and you just kind of have a look on there. There's open mics all around in little pubs and rooms.
Oh, awesome. So it's really good to have media to actually be able to communicate and book things then. Yeah. Do you guys find that people in the industry take you less seriously because you're young or students?
Not really. Like usually, like recently, it's been like a trope that like I guess that since we're young, it's kind of cool that we're doing stuff for this, because like there gets to a point where it's like 25 and you're like, oh, you're still in the band, versus like when you're 19, it's like, oh, cool, you're in a band.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely.
I think maybe a little bit, yeah. Just because there's this one gig I do called Funny in the Brunny. I've done it maybe 4 times, and every time I get up on stage, the MC, who's this guy called Glenn, he always announces, it's his first time doing stand-up comedy. Please welcome to the stage, Ethan Gallagher. And so it's kind of like, because I'm a bit younger, they try and, I think he thinks he's helping me, and I think it's a bit funny, but yeah, there's definitely a different attitude towards me because I'm a bit younger.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, but hopefully that changes over time as well. What advice would you give to people, you know, either trying to go out and book gigs in the music industry or comedy scene as students and young people?
I'd say that there's no set progression for a career in the arts. I think when I started comedy, I thought, okay, I have to do 5 minutes and work my way up to 10 and then work my way up to 20. And really you can just do an hour out of the gate. You can do whatever you want if you feel. If you feel like you're ready to do it, don't hesitate just because you're younger or more inexperienced.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I'd just say be confident. No, like don't be too afraid to ask a venue to have a gig. And also just if you're starting out, like don't overstay. Like say if you're like smaller gig or smaller band and you know you're going to bring like 30 people, play at a smaller venue. Because a lot of people are like, oh, you want to play at this like huge venue because it looks sick, but then you bring like 30 people and it doesn't feel as nice. It's just generally nicer to play a smaller place when you're a bit small and then work your way up and then know your limits, but also don't, I don't know, just have fun.
Yeah, well, awesome. So what other kind of advice, maybe going into getting older in the industry, what kind of things would you say will make a difference getting older? Do you think things will change at all?
I mean, some people tend to, like, when they're older, they like start to have the mindset of like, oh, is it taking too long? Is it like, should I be doing more? Just as long as you're enjoying it. If you don't feel as like happy or enthusiastic about doing something, then just like know when to make a change. But you know, it should be making you happy the whole time, I guess.
Yeah,
and if it isn't, you know.
Yeah, I just think experience. It's going to be, hopefully in 5 years' time, I'll be 5 years more experienced in comedy, and that'll be fun.
Yeah, well, you'd hope so, definitely. And so tell us a little bit about what you've got coming up in the future, or soon even.
Well, in my case at least, like we're trying to record a bunch of songs now because everyone's going to Europe and stuff. So like even tonight we're doing our last gig for a few months.
That's so exciting.
And then and so yeah, we're going to try and get all that mixed and stuff to not waste time while we're away. Obviously we'll have fun in Europe, but you know, like a few months is a while. So we'll try and have an EP out by next 5 to 25 months.
25 months, perfect. Well, hopefully we all get to have a listen to that eventually as well. Anything coming up for you, Ethan?
Comedy Fest was in April, so I'm a bit tired. But right now I'm organising this show for the next year's festival, which is just a bunch of young comedians trying out longer form stand-up for the first time. So I'm producing that, and I'm really excited about it.
Well, that's really, really exciting.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And did you tell me that you started as class clowns doing comedy?
Yeah, well, it's this really amazing competition that the Comedy Festival runs, and I think it's like in partner with the Arts Centre Melbourne. So it's like people from, I think it's 14 to 18 kids doing stand-up comedy, and it's a really, really great way to get into the industry and get into the scene and actually try it out for the first time if you're interested.
Oh, that's so exciting. And how did you actually start getting into music and forming a band?
I mean, there was one moment in year 9 where it's just like, I think that's when I started listening to the Beatles, and it was like the first band or
You started listening to them in year 9?
I know, it's really, like I didn't know what I was listening to before that, but generally it was just cool hearing music that actually had the instruments that I was like learning to play, because I've been playing guitar for that long, but listening to like Drake or Kanye or something, which they're good, but I think, I don't know, I don't listen
Not
to them.
necessarily profound.
Yeah, like it's different music to what I was like looking for with the guitar. So ever since then, I just fell in love with it, and then I wanted to. It started with me wanting to play covers, like playing their songs to people, like in classrooms and assemblies and stuff. And then it was like, oh, maybe songwriting could be fun too.
Oh, cool. And how would you recommend like young people actually get into forming a band?
Well, I mean, it depends where, like you say, school. Like, there's always going to be some people around who play instruments and who like the same music as you. So even like a lot of my friends who are in bands met each other on Facebook. Like there's a Facebook page, Melbourne Musicians.
Facebook's the place, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So thank you both so much for your fascinating stories and your wonderful tips for other young artists. It's truly amazing what can be achieved when you're passionate about what you do, clearly. Thank you for all of you tuning in to the Creative Corner, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you both for coming.
Cheers.
Cheers. You're going to add Stay Groovy?